Hey everyone, how you doing? Today I want to talk about foot care and particularly say thanks to Ben Ellis who's suggested this idea as a video. So thanks for that. Here I am making it for you. I've always suffered since my spinal injury with kind of ingrown toenails, especially on my big toes. In the early days I was going to see a podiatrist quite a bit and was just sort of told, you're going to have to go through an ingrown toenail operation, etc, etc. But there was never anything ingrown. It was kind of down the edge of the nail on my big toes. I said that was just becoming red and inflamed and sometimes a little bit sort of pussy at times. Then I went and saw another podiatrist who I actually know, sort of family friend. He's dealt with the family before, and his advice was, well, you know what? It's because the skin isn't getting used. You're not walking on your feet. Feet have gone really soft. The nail is still hard, and of course, all it's doing is as your feet are swelling through the day, the swelling is causing the edge of the nail to kind of dig in and start to just dig in and cause a problem with the skin on the edge of it, really. So it's becoming red, inflamed, and over time it gets a little bit worse. So his suggestion, which has worked brilliantly, and I'm going to show you today, was to use some surgical spirit, which is that stuff there, and on a cotton bud. So you need some of them normal little cotton buds that you clean your ears out with, and a bit of tissue just to soak anything up. Basically douse it in surgical spirit a couple of times a day, in the morning and the evening, especially after you've either soaked your feet in a salt bath if they're particularly bad. Go nuts with the salt, run a little shallow tray that you can put your feet into, put 2 or 3 tablespoons of salt in there, mix it all up, nice warm water, and soak your feet for 10-15 minutes and give them a scrub in it. Do that to sort of loosen any rubbish that's in there if they're particularly red and inflamed and perhaps they've got a little bit of pus going on. Dry them off thoroughly, and then use this surgical spirit to harden the skin up, because that's ultimately what it does. And it's worked absolutely brilliantly. I've also noticed one other thing is it depends on your footwear. So if you're wearing looser fitting footwear, or you're not wearing footwear at all, also socks, if you've got tight, thick socks, they're gonna put the extra pressure on the edges of your toenails, and they're gonna cause that problem to come back quite a lot. So since changing shoes, going to another shoe size up into much looser shoes, that's made a huge difference as well, so something to bear in mind. But anyway, I'll show you the technique I've been using. So first up, I'm just going to pour a little bit of surgical spirit in the cap, just because it makes things a little bit easier to do. Put that on this little chair beside me. I'll put that on the floor because I will spill it. And I'll show you on my toe here. So my toe's not particularly bad, but I do have a little bit of redness on both sides. So I've been sat in my chair all day today, been working, and as usual, a bit of swelling in my legs and feet, especially. You can see it. There is that difference between morning and night. It's perfectly normal, nothing you can do about it, but aside from putting your feet up, which I do in the evenings. But I don't know if you can see on there, but along these edges, it's just a little bit red along there, and I've actually got a little bit of kind of open skin just on the edge here. So it's nothing that I'm concerned about, but it's just going to need a little bit of this for a couple of days. And as I said, I generally try and do it morning and evening. So that's now soaked that end in surgical spirit. And what I'm going to do is just basically push in on the edges and just rub it into the edge of my foot, my toe, and really make sure that surgical spirit's doused the skin and I'm kind of cleaning it out at the same time. Back in, but the other end, no double dipping now. Keep it clean in there. I'm going to do the other side. So I've actually got it, it's all wet, it's kind of running down my foot a little bit. And there we go. Now I can't feel this, of course. If you could feel it, it's probably stinging like a bugger, but there we go. So bear that in mind if you're incomplete and you have got feeling. And basically that is it. That is what I'll do, and I'll just let that dry, that'll air dry now. It smells of hospital, it's lovely. And I'll do that, the other toe's absolutely fine, but this one's just needing a little bit of TLC. And yeah, just do that for a few days, and that will make a difference. Now it's certainly worked with me. It was passed on to me by a podiatrist, so he knows what he's doing, and yeah, it's been pretty decent actually. It's been a great home remedy rather than having to keep going, having appointments for them to really kind of not do much about healing it. So yeah, that is what works for me, and it has been good. So things to consider, as I said, is your footwear you're wearing. Think about your socks as well, because anything that's going to put pressure on the sides of your feet, the sides of your toes, is going to cause that nail to start digging into the skin. Keep your nails short as well, because I tend to find that the nails have become quite soft and they start to curl over, where you're wearing shoes during the day, and of course that in itself can cause problems because that can start getting the edges digging in. And yeah, use the surgical spirit for a few days and just get everything toughened up. You will see a real difference after 3 or 4 days. You can kind of see the skin toughening up around the edges, and that does seem to keep things at bay. Even I'll do that even if there's a bit of pus there. You know, give it a good clean out, and this really does seem to work. I've not had a problem since. So, and as I say, it does come back now and then, only because I don't really keep on top of it and do it when there's a problem rather than continue doing it perhaps every other day. Probably should just do this just to keep the skin hard, because it will soften back up again. So yeah, give that a whirl, see what you think, and I hope that helps. Thanks very much. Cheers.